say goodbye to me.
No.
Coming into this internship, I felt like I had a pretty good grasp on who I was as an individual. People I surround myself with know me as the environment freak, like I literally handed out metal straws to people.
Are you ready for the sequel? Ain't ready for the latest?
That identity is something I've clung to, if it's not obvious by how much I talk about backpacking and my minor in sustainability studies. I also hold strong to my values of transparency and honest work, along with my optimism for everyone having the power to be actual good people. But that's where my sense of self stops. I know what I love and I know what I value, but who the heck am I beyond that? How do I translate that into a career? Cue my ongoing existential summer crisis. One of the biggest challenges for me has been the transition from having nature be accessible to living somewhere where I actively have to go out of my way to be in green space. When my mom visited, she asked me to share my favorite places with her. Without realizing, I took her places that I could run around, bike, lay in the grass, or dip my feet in some water. And when she pointed that out to me, I was shocked with how true that is. When I think of welcoming spaces and preserving the friendliness that I value so highly, I immediately run to nature. And that is why my transitioning was so littered with thoughts of metropolitan NYC being this gateway into unfriendliness and terrifying directness that I felt so unprepared for. Thankfully, I realized that my belief in transparency really is the same as this direct culture that the big city immerses itself in. The environment and culture of my workplace also lends itself to being a good mix of my leadership style and the style of my company. Our primary office is a co-working space in Hell's Kitchen, and it's a very open space that honestly is a dream workplace to work at. There's a meditation room, there's a rooftop garden you can go up to, there are all-gendered bathrooms. They also created a corner of the office where we have several separate trash cans for glass, metals, plastic, paper, compost, and any other trash you can really think of. The nature of the work I'm doing is also reflected in the workplace environment, and that's helped motivate me in my work. But there have also been some problems at work. During my time here, I've observed that the concept of time and schedules work so differently than any other job I've worked before. Is this a startup thing? Is this specific to my supervisor? I've noticed that our meeting times are never set in stone. A meeting can have an initial start time of 1 p.m., but my supervisor will check in with us at 1, only to push the meeting back to 2, and then sometimes he'll push it back a second time. Along with my meeting times not being set, the time for my supervisor to come in to work is also not set. It's hard when most of my projects are dependent on meeting with a supervisor in order to move forward, and those meetings are then canceled or moved on the daily. It was also hard for me to not become annoyed with my supervisor for rescheduling these meetings because it happened every day. Even after I talked to him about how it affected my work, things didn't change. In the end, the other interns and I ended up talking to my supervisor about this issue, and we did see some change. But the biggest change I saw was in myself, and that I now understood that if I need information from him, I was going to need to be more proactive and reach out myself. I was more forward with emailing him and getting right down to business when we did talk so that I could have all the information I could possibly need to continue my projects. This ended up working well for us in my final weeks, and this is where I saw the most change in how he corresponded with me. Looking back over my whole summer, I've realized that I have so much more power than I ever thought possible. I have the power to take initiative in every area of my life, and that is so cool. If I'm not comfortable in an environment, I can change it. If there's an issue at work, I can change how I handle it. I've become so independent, and it's freeing to take everything into my own hands. New York City showed me the type of environments I need to work in and around, and thankfully, I've been able to discover the balance of work time and my time alone outdoors. As I leave New York, I feel like I have a solid foundation of values that I didn't realize at the beginning of the summer. I've become so aware of the value of working interculturally and that I can learn things from other cultures that give me a perspective that I cannot find on my own or by staying around people of similar backgrounds to me. No matter where I end up in my future, I know that New York gave me a leadership style I had hidden away, and I'm ready to hold on to this newfound sense of direction tighter than ever.